Today is Friday, May the 7th, the year is 2021. You're riding with David Rowland, pastor of Salem Seminole Baptist Church. And this is journal entry number 19. So I'm just thinking through the message for Sunday. Typically, I always take and preach about, mothers on Mother's Day, or I preach a Mother's Day message. I do consider myself an expository preacher, and so typically we're working through books of the Bible verse by verse, one chapter at the time, and that's normally the way we approach the scriptures. But this summer I've been really taking a survey of the book of Proverbs, not necessarily going chapter by chapter, verse by verse. And so I'm going to be coming from Proverbs chapter 1, looking at verses 8 and 9. Back based, back based.
Is this yours?
It's a fortified picnic. On a Mother's Day gift?
Yeah.
Is it this picnic lunch?
It's not. You're not supposed to say what it is. I don't know what it is. A tile with my handprint on it.
Oh, that's going to be so nice. Emerson and I have decided that tomorrow I'm gonna use Mom as an acronym in my sermon. You know what an acronym is?
I make Mommy a superstar.
Oh yeah, Mommy's definitely gonna be a superstar in my sermon tomorrow.
And you're gonna be up there with Daddy, Mom.
Yes, she is. Will you come up there and preach with me? What about you, Scarlett? Will you preach with me tomorrow?
Can I preach?
Got all three kiddos in the car. Scarlett, are you in back there? I'm gonna head out with some friends from church tonight for dinner on this Saturday night. And we'll come home and put the final preparations on a sermon. So this is typically not how I like to do sermon prep, but God has just taken me a really long way since Friday. So on Friday, I pretty much had this clear-cut idea of how I was going to deliver the message for tomorrow, and I was going to use the word mother like as an acrostic, or and go through that. But God has just really pierced my heart, because it's like, where's the gospel? The real pandemic is in the mind. Y'all, the real pandemic is in our hearts and our souls. It's because we're so disconnected from what God has really called us to in this idea of parenthood. But the role of a mother, there's so many people, and y'all, people call me all sorts of stuff. They're like, you're a sexist because you make your wife stay home. And I was like, hold up now. I asked her what she wanted to do, and she said that she wanted to stay home and serve the family. And I said, whatever I got to do, I'll make that happen. I don't make her stay home. So if you think that, get behind me, Satan. I didn't know this was going to be such a good time this morning. This might be the most fun I've ever had preaching. But y'all, this letter touched me. It says, it's written to Ann Lander. It says, I'm so tired of all these ignorant people who come up to my husband and ask him if his wife has a full-time job or if she's just a housewife. Here's my job description. I'm a wife, mother, friend, confidant, personal advisor, lover, referee, peacemaker, housekeeper, laundress, chauffeur, interior decorator, gardener, painter, wallpaper, dog groomer, veterinarian. We're new dog owners, by the way. Manicurist, barber, seamstress, appointment manager, financial planner, bookkeeper, money manager, personal secretary, teacher, disciplinarian, entertainer, psychoanalysis, not me, nurse, I can't say that word, I don't know why, public relations expert, dietitian, nutritionist, baker, chef, fashion coordinator, and letter writer for both sides of the family. I'm also a travel agent, speech therapist, plumber, automobile maintenance, and repair expert. From the studies done, it would cost more than $75,000 a year to replace me. I took the time out of my busy day to write this letter, Anne, because there are still ignorant people who believe a housewife is nothing more than a babysitter who sits on her behind all day and looks at soap operas. Amen. Scarlett, do you like my new glasses? Pretty sure that's your brother's cut. So we're out here on ground control. We're about 3 minutes away from this rocket launching. We're feeling good about today's launch. It got scrubbed yesterday.
Because the computer died.
Well, the streaming computer died at NASA, which is really hard for me to believe. But yeah, I think we're going to be a go for today. You guys ready to see this rocket vapor? So it's Monday, and just thinking back through the sermon yesterday for Mother's Day, I wound up still using the acrostic MOM for Mom. Originally, in my sermon prep, I had used the word mother, and for a good old Southern Baptist pastor, it's just too many points. Now, I'm a 3-point guy, and I try to keep all my sermons around 3 points. Sometimes I use 4. I used 4 in the Bible study last week, but 3 to 4 is typically what I can do in the time frame that I'm given. And so one issue I did have with my sermon yesterday, we're going to be hitting some speed bumps. One issue that I did have with my sermon yesterday was I didn't have a timepiece. And so I broke my watch last Sunday night, knocked it off my nightstand and shattered it. And so my phone was being used for the live stream, so I didn't have a timekeeper. So I did go a little over yesterday. And typically that's not something I like to do. Nobody was upset about it. I'm probably the only one in the church that's mad about it. But it's just something I like to be on time with on a day like Mother's Day. I know people have plans and different things going on. But, you know, that was just it's not like a imperative issue, but just something that bugged me. As far as the meat of the sermon go, I looked at Proverbs chapter 1, verses 8 and 9. And it's really eye-opening to me as I studied the scriptures this week, and as I studied just some motherly people, some motherly figures from the Christian world. Listened to some interviews with Billy Graham's wife, Ruth, and she just had some just mind-blowing insights on parenthood in general, but specifically motherhood. And I used several of her quotes to really encourage some mothers in the room yesterday. And also found a letter that John Piper actually read in one of his sermons in 1994. It's a letter written into a lady named Ann Landers, which was sort of like a focus on the family type deal. And this housewife just wrote in to clarify her job description, and it made me tear up whenever I heard it being preached in the context of the sermon, because it was just eye-opening to me as just how much my wife does as a stay-at-home mom. I don't even like the term housewife, but I think for so many people they think a stay-at-home mom is just like a babysitter who sits at home and watches TV all day or just stays on Facebook. But it's so much more than that. And she goes and makes appointments and takes the kids to school, and I mean, just she's a superstar. And so I read that without crying in the sermon yesterday, but man, the sermon it took a different direction than I would have thought. There was a lot more humor than I initially planned on putting in there. And, you know, that could be one or two things. That could be maybe I wasn't confident in the message, or maybe God just intended it to be that way. But what I walked away with is
I was realizing it in the moment of the amount of humor that was in it, and I did recognize it. And I told him, I said, I didn't intend for this to be, so humorous. And I walked away with just this idea that it's not a sin to be encouraged at church. It's not a sin to be encouraged at church. And while the message didn't go the way that I thought that it should go, I think it went exactly as it needed to go.